Tapobhi kshina papanam shantanam vitaraginam mumukshunam apekshyoyam Ātmabodho vidhiyate. Tapobhi, by austerities. Kshina papanam, for those who are purified from sin. Shantanam, for those who are calm. Vitaraginam, for those who are free from craving. Mumukshunam, for those who desire liberation. Apekshaha, worthy of attending. Ayang, this. Ātmabodhaḥ, knowledge of the self. Vidhiyate, being composed by me. I am composing Ātmabodhaḥ, this treatise of the knowledge of the self, for those who have purified themselves from sin by austerity and are calm, peaceful in heart, free from craving, and desirous of liberation. Bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam akasya vahni vajyanam vina moksho na siddhyati. Bodhyaha, knowledge of the self. Anya sadhanebhyo, in comparison with other contributory cause. He, indeed, sakshat, direct, mokshaik sadhanam, the one means for liberation, akasya, for cooking, vahnivat, just as the fire, jnanam, realized knowledge, vina, without, mokshaha, emancipation, na, not, siddhyati, to be accomplished. As fire is the direct cause of cooking, so knowledge, and not any other form of discipline, is the direct cause of liberation. For liberation cannot be attained without knowledge. Avirodhitaya karma navidyang vinivartayet vidya vidyang nihantyeva tejas timira sanghavat. Avirodhitaya, for not being opposed to ignorance. Karma, action. Na, not. Avidyang, ignorance. Vinivartayet, destroys. Vidya, knowledge. Avidyang, ignorance. Nihanti, destroys. Eva, verily. Tejaha, light. Timira sanghavat, as deep darkness. Action cannot destroy ignorance, for it is not in conflict with ignorance. Knowledge alone destroys ignorance, as light destroys dense darkness. Parichinna iva jnanat tannashe sati kevalaha svayang prakashate hyatma megha payeng sumaniva. Parichinnaha, finite, eva, as if, ajnanat, because of ignorance, tat, that, nashasati, when destroyed, kevalaha, alone, svayang, by itself, prakashate, reveals, he, verily, Atma, the self, megha, clouds, apaye, when pass away, Angshuman, the sun, Iva, like. The self appears to be finite only because of ignorance. When ignorance is destroyed, the self, which does not admit of any multiplicity whatsoever, reveals itself by itself, like the sun when the cloud is removed. Ajnana kalusham jivam jnanabhyasad vinirmalam kritva jnanam svayam nasyej jalang katakarenuvat. Ajnana kalusham, stained by ignorance. Jivam, the self contaminated by ignorance. Jnanabhyasat, from constant practice of knowledge. Vinirmalang, pure. Kritva, having made. Jnanam, knowledge. Svayam, itself. Nashye, disappears. Jalang, water. Katakarenuvat, as the powder of the kataka nut. Through repeated practice, knowledge purifies the embodied soul stained by ignorance, and then itself disappears, as the powder of the kataka nut disappears after it has cleansed muddy water. Saṅsara svapna tulyo hi ragadveshadi sankulaha svakale satyavadbhati prabodhe satyasadbhavet. Saṅsara, the world, svapno tulyaha, like a dream, hi, verily, ragadveshadi sankulaha, full of attachments, aversions, etc. Svakale, in its duration. Satyavat, to be real. Bhati, appears. Prabodhye sati, when awake. Asat, unreal. Bhave, appears. The world, filled with attachments, aversions, and the rest, is like a dream. It appears to be real as long as one is ignorant, but is seen as unreal when awake. Tavat satyam jagad bhati shuktikara-jatam yata yavanajñāyate brahma sarvadishthanamadvayam. Tavat, as a correlative of yavat, as long as. Satyam, true. Jagat, the world. Bhati, appears. Shuktikara-jatam, silver in the mother of pearl. Yata, like. Yavat, as a relative of tavat, as long as. Na, not. Jñāyate, is realized. Brahma, Brahman. Sarvadishthānam, the substratum of all. Advayam, one without a second. The world appears to be real only as long as the non-dual Brahman, which is the basis of all, is not known. It is like the illusion of silver in an oyster shell. Upadane Nikhilādhare jaganti parameshware sargastitilayan yanti buddhani vavarini. Upadane, which is the material cause. Nikhilādhare, which is the support of everything. Jaganti, the worlds. Parameshware, in the Supreme Self. Sargas Titilayan, rising, existing, and dissolving. Yanti, pass away. Budbudani, bubbles. Eva, like. Varini, in the waters. Like bubbles in the water, the worlds rise, exist, and dissolve in the Supreme Self, the material cause and support of everything. Satchidatmanyanusyute nitye Vishnu prakalpataha vyaktayo vividha sarva hatake katakadivat. Satchidatmani, whose nature is existence, intelligence. Anusyute, which is all-pervading. Nitye, eternal. Vishnu, upon Vishnu, one whose stride is the largest. Prakalpitaha, projected by imagination. Vyaktayaha, manifested. Vividhaha, manifold. Sarvaha, all. Hatake, out of gold. Katakadivat, just as bracelets and other ornaments. The manifested world of names and forms is projected by the imagination of the perceiver upon the substratum, the eternal, all-pervading Vishnu, whose nature is existence and intelligence, just as bangles and bracelets are all made of the same gold. Yatha kasho rishikesho nanopadigato vibhu tadbhedad bhinnavad bhati tannashe kevalo bhavet. Yatha, just as. Akashaha, space. Rishikeshaha, the omnipresent truth. Nanopadigataha, associated with various conditionings. Vibhu, the all-pervading. Tadbhedat, on account of their upadi's manifold nature, distinct from each other. Bhinnavadbhati, appears to be diverse. Tannashe, on the destruction of these upadis. Kevalaha, one. Bhavet, becomes. As both all-pervading space and the omnipresent Lord of the senses appear to be diverse because of association with different upadis, they again become one on the upadi's destruction. Nanopadhivashadeva Jativarnashramadaya Atmanyaropitastoye Rasavarnadi Bhedavat. Nanopadhivashat, because of association with different upadis, conditionings. Eva, only. Jativarnashramadaya, caste, color, position, etc. Atmani, upon the Atman. Aropitaha, are superimposed. Toye, on water. Rasavarnadi Bhedavat, differences such as flavor, color, etc. Ideas such as caste, color, and position are superimposed on Atman because of its association with various upadis, like flavor, color, etc., on water. Panchikritamahabhuta sangbhavam karma sanchitam sharirang sukha dukkhanang bhogayatanamuchyate. Panchikritam, the five elements that have gone through the process of fivefold self-division and mutual combination. Mahabhuta sangbhavam, made up of the five elements. Karma sanchitam, determined by one's own past actions. Shariram, the gross body. Sukha dukkhanang, for pleasure and pain. Bhogayatanam, medium of experiencing. Uchyate, is said. The gross body, the medium through which the soul experiences pleasure and pain, is determined by past actions and formed out of the five great subtle elements which become gross by going through the process of panchikarana. Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam apanchikrita bhutotang sukshmangang bhoga sadhanam. Pancha prana, the five pranas, the manifestation of life in the body. Mano buddhi, mind and intellect. Dashendriya, the 10 organs. Samanvitam, combined. Apanchikrita bhutotang, formed from the subtle elements before their panchikarana. Sukshmangam, the subtle body. Bhoga sadhanam, instrument of experience. The subtle body, instrument of the soul's experience, consists of the five pranas, the 10 organs, the mind and intelligence, all formed from the rudimentary subtle elements before their subdivision and combination. Anadya vidya nirvachya karanopadiruchyate Upadhi tritayadanyam Ātmabodhaḥ. Anadi, beginningless. Avidya, ignorance. Anirvachya, indescribable. Karanopadihi, causal body. Uchyate, is said. Upadhi tritayadanyam, other than the three conditioning bodies. Atmanam, the Atman. Ātmabodhaḥ, you should understand. Avidya, nescience, indescribable and beginningless, is called the cause. It is an upadhi superimposed on Atman. Know for certain that Atman is other than the three upadhis. Panchakoshadi yogena tattanmaya ivastitaha suddhatma nilavastradi yogena sphatiko yata. Panchakoshadi yogena, by identification with the five sheaths. Tat, that. Tanmaya, identical with that. Iva, like. Stitaha, appears. Shuddhatma, the pure self. Nila vastradi yogena, by association with a blue garment. Sphatikaha, crystal. Yata, just as. On account of union with the five sheaths, the pure Atman appears to be like them, like a clear crystal appears to be colored blue or red when in contact with a cloth of that color. Vapustushadibhi hoshair yuktang yuktavagatatah Atma namantarang suddhang vivicyatandulang yatha. Vapuhu, the form, tushadibihi, with husk, etc. Koshaihi, with sheaths, yuktang, covered. Yuktya, by logical thinking. Avaghatatata, by thrashing rice in a mortar. Atmanang, the self. Antarang, within. Shuddhang, pure. Vichityat, should separate. Tandulang, rice. Yatha, just as. By discrimination, one should separate the pure inmost self from the sheaths covering it, as one separates rice kernels from the husks by striking it in a mortar with a pestle. Sada sarvagatopyatma nar sarvatrava bhasate buddhaveva vabhaseta svacheshu pratibimbavat. Sada, always. Sarvagataha, all-pervading. Api, although. Atma, the self. Na, not. Sarvatra, everywhere. Avabhasate, shines. Buddhai, in the intellect. Eva, only. Avabhaseta, manifests. Svacheshu, in the transparent surface. Pratibimbavat, just as the reflection. Though all-pervading, Atman doesn't shine in everything. It is manifest only in the intelligence, like a reflection in clear water or in a stainless mirror. Dehendriya mano buddhi prakriti-bhyo vilakshanam tadvriti sakshinang vidyad atmanang rajavatsada. Deha, body. Indriya, senses. Manas, mind. Buddhi, intellect. Prakriti-bhyaha, from all this prakriti, matter. Vilakshanam, distinct. Tadvriti sakshinam, witness of their modifications. Vidyat, know. Atmanang, the self. Rajavat, like a king. Sada, always. Realize Atman to be different from the body, sense organs, mind, intelligence, and undifferentiated prakriti, matter, but the witness of their modifications, like a king. Vyapriteshvindriyeshvatma vyapari va vivekinam drishyate breshu dhavatsu dhavanniva yata shashi. Vyapriteshu, while functioning. Indriyeshu, the sense organs. Atma, the self. Vyapari, active. Iva, like. Avivekinam, for non-discriminating people. Drishyate, appears. Abreshu, the clouds. Dhavatsu, when moving. Dhavan, to be running. Iva, like. Yata, just as. Shashi, the moon. Atman appears to be active to the non-discriminating person, when in reality only the senses are active, just as the moon appears to be moving when the clouds move in the sky. Atma-chaitanyamashritya dehendriya manodhyah svakriyarteshu vartante suryalokang yatha janah. Atma-chaitanyam, vitality of consciousness. Ashritya, depending upon. Dehendriya manodhyah, body, senses, mind, and intellect. Svakriyarteshu, in their respective activities. Vartante, engage. Suryalokang, light of the sun. Yatha, just as. Jana, people. The body, senses, mind, and intellect engage in their respective activities depending on the Atman's inherent consciousness, just as men work by the light inherent in the sun. Dehendriya gunan karman yamale satchidatmani adhyasyantya vivekena gagane nilatadivat. Dehendriya gunan, qualities of the body and senses. Karmani, actions. Amale, pure. Satchidatmani, on the Atman, the absolute existence knowledge. Adhyasyanti, superimpose. Avivekena, by lack of discrimination. Gagane, on the sky. Nilatadivat, blue color and the like. Through non-discrimination, fools superimpose the characteristics and functions of the body and senses on the stainless Atman, just as people superimpose traits like blueness and concavity on the sky. Agyanang manasopādhe kartritvādini chatmani kalpyantem bhugate chandre chalanadi yatam bhasaha. Ajnanat, through ignorance. Manasopādhe, of the mind, which is an upadi. Kartritvādini, agency of action, etc. Cha, and. Atmani, on the self. Kalpyante, attribute. Ambugate, which is reflected in the water. Chandre, in the moon. Chalanadi, tremblings, etc. Yatha, just as. Ambhasaha, of the water. As through ignorance the movement of the water is attributed to the moon reflected in it, so also agency, enjoyment, and other limitations belonging to the mind are falsely attributed to Atman. Ragecha sukha dukkhadi buddhau satyang pravartate sushuptau nasti tannashe tasmad buddhestu natmanaha. Ragaha, attachment. Icha, desire. Sukha, pleasure. Dukkhadi, pain, etc. Buddhau satyang, when mind or intellect functions. Pravartate, are perceived. Sushuptau, in deep sleep. Na, not. Asti, is. Tannase, at the destruction of it, mind. Tasmat, therefore. Buddhe, of the intellect. To, only. Na, not. Atmanaha, of the Atman. Attachment, desire, pleasure, pain, etc. are perceived to exist as long as buddhi, intellect, function. They are not perceived in deep sleep when the mind ceases to exist. Thus they belong to the mind alone and not to Atma. Prakashorkasya toyasya shaityamagneryatoshnata svabhava satchidanandan ityanirmalatatmanaha. Prakasha, luminosity, arkasya, of the sun, toyasya, for water, shaityam, coolness, Agnehe, for fire, yata, just as, ushnata, heat, svabhavaha, nature, sat, reality, chit, consciousness, ananda, bliss, nitya, eternity, nirmalata, purity, atmanaha, of the Atman. Just as luminosity is the nature of the sun, coolness is the nature of water, and heat of fire, eternity, purity, reality, consciousness, and bliss is the nature of Atman. Atmana satchidangshascha buddhe vrittiriti dvayam sanyojya cha vivekena janamiti pravartate. Atmanaha, of the self, satchidangshaha, the existence knowledge aspect, cha, and, buddhe, of the intellect, vrittihi, modification, iti, thus, dvayam, the two, samyojya, blending, cha, and, avivekena, through indiscrimination, janami, I know, iti, thus, pravartate, functions. By the apparent union, due to non-discrimination, of two aspects of Atman, existence and consciousness, with a modification of the intellect, a notion such as I know arises. Atmano vikriya nasti, buddher bodho najatviti. Jiva sarvamalang gyatva jnata drashteti muhyati. Atmanaha, for the self, vikriya, action, na, not, asti, is, buddhe, for the intellect, bodhyaha, capacity to experience, intelligence, na, not, jatu, at all, iti, thus, jivaha, the individuality, sarvam, everything, alang, enough, jnatva, knowing, jnata, the knower, drashta, the seer, iti, thus, muhyati, deludes. Atman never performs action, and buddhi is never endowed with consciousness. But people believe that Atman is identical with buddhi and fall under delusions like, I am the seer, the knower. Rajusarpavadatmanang jivang jnatva bhayang vahet nahang jiva paratmeti jnatang chennirbhayo bhavet. Rajusarpavat, like a serpent in a rope, atmanang, oneself, jivaha, the individual being, ego, Jnatva, considering. Bhayang, fear. Vahet, carries or is overcome. Na, not. Ahang, I. Jivaha, the individuality or the ego. Paratma, the Supreme Self. Iti, thus. Jnataha, having understood. Chet, if. Nirbhayaha, fearless. Bhavet, can be. Like a man who regards a rope as a snake, the soul understanding itself as a jiva is overcome by fear. The soul who knows, I am not a jiva, but the Supreme Self, is fearless. Ātmavabhāsya yat yeko buddhyadinindriyanyapi dipo gata divatsvatma jadayistairnavabhasyate. Atma, the Self, avabhasyati, illumines, eka, single, buddhyadini, intellect, etc., indriyani, sense organs, api, also, Deepaha, lamp, Gatadivat, like the pots, etc. Svatma, itself, Jadaihi, inert, Taihi, by themselves, Na, not, Avabhasyate, illumined. Atman alone illumines the mind, sense organs, etc., as a lamp illumines a jar or pot. These material objects cannot illuminate themselves because they are inert. Svabodhe nanyabodhe cha bodharupatayatmanaha nadi pasyanya dipecha yatasvatma prakashane. Svabodhe, to know itself. Na, not. Anyabodhe cha, need for other knowledge. Bodharupatya, because its form is knowledge itself. Atmanaha, one's own. Na, not. Dipasya, for a lamp. Anyadipecha, need for another lamp. Yata, just as. Svatma prakashane, to illumine itself. Atman, being consciousness itself, does not need another instrument of consciousness to illumine itself, just as a lighted lamp does not need another lamp to manifest its light. Nishidhya Nikhilopādhi neti neti tivakyataha vidyadaikyang mahavakyair jivatma paramatmanoh. Nishidhya, after negating, Nikhilopādhin, all conditionings, na iti, not this, na iti, not this, iti, thus, vakyataha, from the scriptural commandments, vidyat, know, aikyang, oneness, mahavakyaihi, by the great mahavakyas, jivatma paramatmanoh, of the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. After negating all upadhis by the great scriptural statement, it is not this, not this, realize the oneness of the individual soul and the Supreme Soul by means of the great Vedic aphorisms. Avidyakang sharirari drishyam buddhavaksharam Etad vilakshanam vidyad ahang brahmeti nirmalang. Avidyakang, gross, subtle, and causal. Shariradi, body, etc. Drishyang, perceived objects. Budbudavat, as bubbles. Ksharam, perishable. Etad vilakshanam, separate from all these. Vidyat, realize. Ahang, I. Brahma, Brahman. Iti, thus. Nirmalam, pure. The gross, subtle, and causal bodies created by avidya are perceived objects, perishable like bubbles. Realize by discrimination that you are the stainless Brahman, completely different from them. Dehanyatvanna me janma jara karshyalayadayaha shabdadivishayai sango nirindriyayatanacha. Dehanyatvat, because of its being other than the body. Na, not. Me, for me. Janma, birth. Jara, wrinkling. Karshya, senility. Layadayaha, death, etc. Shabdadivishayai, with sense objects such as sound, etc. Sangaha, association. Nirindriyataya, because it is without the sense organs. Na, not. Cha, end. I am free from changes such as birth, wrinkling, senility, and death, for I am other than the body. I am unattached to the objects of the senses, for I am without sense organs. Amanastvanna me dukkha raga dvesha bhayadayaha aprano yamana shubhra ityadi shrutishasanat. Amanastvan, because of not being the mind. Na, not. Me, or me. Dukkha, sorrow. Raga, attachment. Dvesha, malice. Bhayadayaha, fear, etc. Apranaha, without breath. He, verily. Atmanaha, without mind. Shubhra, pure. Ityadi, and so on. Shrutishasanat, for the great scripture says so. I am other than the mind. I am free from sorrow, attachment, malice, and fear. He is without breath and indeed without mind, pure, higher than the high, and imperishable. Nirguno nishkriyo nityo nirvikalpo niranjanaha nirvikaro nirakaro nityamuktosmi nirmalaha. Nirgunaha, without attributes. Nishkriyaha, without actions. Nityaha, eternal. Nirvikalpaha, without desire or thought. Niranjanaha, without being affected by material nature. Nirvikaraha, without any change. Nirakaraha, without form. Nityamuktaha, ever liberated. Asmi, I am. Nirmalaha, ever pure. I am without attributes or action, eternal, without desire or thought, stainless, changeless, formless, ever liberated, and ever pure. Aham akashavat sarvang bahirantargato chutaha sada sarva samatsiddho nisango nirmalo chalaha. Ahang, I. Akashavat, like space. Sarvang, all things. Bahihi, without. Antaha, within. Gataha, permeate. Achyutaha, changeless. Sada, always. Sarvasamaha, same in all. Siddhaha, pure. Nisangaha, unattached. Nirmalaha, stainless. Achalaha, motionless. I permeate all things inside and out like space. Changeless and uniform in all, I am pure, unattached, stainless, and immutable. Nitya-suddha vimuktaikam akhandanandamadvayam satyam jnanam anantang yat param brahmahameva tat. Nitya, eternal. Shuddha, pure. Vimukta, free. Ekam, one. Akhandanandam, indivisible bliss. Advayam, non-dual. Satyam, truth, changeless in the past, present, and future. Jnanam, knowledge. Anantang, infinite. Yat param brahma, that supreme Brahman. Ahameva, I alone. Tat, that. I am verily that supreme Brahman, eternal, stainless, and free, one, indivisible and non-dual, whose nature is bliss, truth, knowledge, and infinity. Evam nirantarabhyasta brahmaivasmiti vasana haratya vidya vikshepam roganiva rasayanam. Evam, thus, nirantarabhyasta, practiced constantly. Brahmaivasmi, I am Brahman. Iti, thus, vasana, impression. Harati, destroys. Avidya vikshepan, ignorance and agitation caused by it. Rogan, disease. Eva, like. Rasayanam, medicine. Infusing the mind with the impression, I am Brahman, by uninterrupted reflection, destroys ignorance and its distractions, as Ayurvedic Rasayana medicine destroys diseases. Vivikta desha asino virago vijitendriyaha bhavaye dekamatmanang tamanam yadhihi. Vivikta desha, in a solitary place. Asinaha, seated. Viragaha, free from desires. Vijitendriyaha, controlling the senses. Bhavaye, meditate. Tongue, that. Ekam, one. Atmanang, the self. Anantang, boundless. Ananyadhihi, with unswerving attention. Sitting in a solitary place, freeing the mind from desire and controlling the senses, meditate with unswerving attention on the infinite Atman, one without a second. Atmayeva kilang drishyam pravilapya diya sudhi bhavaye dekamatmanang nirmalakashavat sada. Atmanyeva, the Atman alone, akilang, entire, drishyam, world of objects, pravilapya, merging, diya, by his intelligence. Suddhihi, wise man. Bhavayet, should think. Ekang, one. Atmanang, the self. Nirmalakashavat, like the stainless pure sky. Sada, constantly. The wise one should intelligently merge the entire objective world in Atman alone, and constantly think of Atman as the stainless sky. Rupa varnadikang sarvang vihaya paramartavit Paripurna chidananda svarupena vatishtate. Rupa varnadikang, form, color, etc. Sarvam, everything. Vihaya, discarding. Paramartavit, one who has realized the Supreme. Paripurna chidananda svarupena, as an embodiment of infinite consciousness and bliss. Avatishtate, becomes, remains. He who has attained the supreme goal discards all objects as name and form, and dwells as the embodiment of infinite consciousness and bliss. Jnana Gyeya Veda Harenatmani Vidyate Chidanandaika Rupatva Deepyate Svayameva Hi. Jnatri, knower. Jnana, knowledge. Jnaya, object of knowledge. Bhedaha, these differences. Hare, supreme. Na, not. Atmani, in the self. Vidyate, is. Chidanandaika Rupatvat, because the being of the nature of knowledge and bliss, Deepyate, shines. Svayam, by itself. Eva, alone. He, verily. Being of the nature of exceeding bliss, the Supreme Self does not admit the distinction of knower, knowing, and the object of knowledge. It alone shines. Evam atmaranau dhyanam atane satatang krite Udita vagatir jwala sarva jnanendhanang dahet. Evam, thus, atmaranau, in the forest of the self, dhyanamatane, churning by contemplation, satatang, constantly, krite, when done, udita vagatihi, knowledge that is born, jwala, the flame, sarvajnanendhanam, all the fuel of ignorance, dahet, shall burn. Thus, rubbing firewood in the forest of the self in the form of constant meditation kindles the flame of knowledge, which, once lit, burns up all the fuel of ignorance. Aruneneva bodhena purvang santamase hrite tata avir bhavedatma svayamevang shumaniva. Arunena, by the Lord of the early dawn, Aruna. Eva, like. Bodhena, by the knowledge. Purvang, beforehand. Santamase, universal darkness. Rite, when destroyed. Tataha, then. Avirbhavet, arises. Atma, the self. Svayameva, of its own accord. Angshuman, the sun, Eva, like. As the Lord of the early dawn destroys darkness, so Atman appears after the destruction of ignorance by knowledge, like the sun.